There was confusion and drama at the Wa Municipal Assembly Hall, where Assembly members converged for the confirmation of the President's MCE nominee, Haku Tahiru Mumin. This was after one ballot was rejected during the count, leaving the nominee with 29 votes, one short of the 30 votes required for its confirmation. After careful scrutiny of the rejected ballot, however, the Electoral Commission made a U-turn, declaring it as valid and thus confirming the nominee for another 4-year tenure. 2 persons were arrested in the ensuing chaos for allegedly slapping one of the assembly members. Joy News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
For many in the Wa municipality, the renomination of Haku Tahiru Mumin as Wa mayor came as utmost shock and disbelief, considering the alleged corruption tag that has been repeated severally and hung on his neck by his opponents. Furthermore, the wedge between him and a section of MPP supporters, and above all, the cat and mouse relationship between him and Wa Central Constituency Chairman Ali Kamara, failed to dim his political career, and his name was once again dangled in front of the 45-member assembly to decide his fate. The tension that filled the 18-yard length assembly hall epitomizes the deep-seated rift and division at the assembly. As a result, there was heavy police presence inside the hall and outside. The voting, sorting, and counting of the ballots went on peacefully. However, it was the same with the announcement of the results.
A choice has not been made on this particular ballot, so it is therefore declared rejected ballot. One rejected ballot.
There were counter-arguments from bleeding-heart defenders of the president's nominee, insisting that the ballot that was rejected was valid for them and that the nominee has gotten the 30 votes required for his confirmation. It led to confusion and altercation, resulting in the assembly member for the Dego residential area allegedly slapped by one Admuda. Admuda was quickly arrested by the police. Another unidentifiable person was also arrested by the police as a result of the ensuing confusion. The Electoral Commission, however, made a U-turn and the results declared.
The yes votes were 30, representing 66.7%. The no votes were 15, representing 33.3%. Rejected votes 0, and by these results, the president's nominee, in the person of Honorable Alhaji Haku Tahiru, is confirmed and declared as the honorable member for the assembly.
One municipal director of the Electoral Commission, Bernard Alaglo, further explained why.
The intention of the voter is clear. He did not make any mark on the no column. It was just a stain outside the territory of what is required of us. If a mark was made at no column, at the same time hot, yes column, then it would have been hot, a complete rejected ballot.
There was not much excitement outside the hall, which is arguably a reflection of the Wa Township. The re-election of Haku Tahiru Mumin for some is seen as a pirate victory, and he himself is already aware and has sounded apologetic after he was confirmed.
And I've opened the doors already for those who feel that my first tenure has not been so much good for them, that they should come in, and I'm ready to improve upon what happened in the previous period to bring everybody on board.
Early at Nandom, 36 assembly members converged at the assembly hall to take part in the exercise to confirm the president nominee, Raymond Nero. Raymond Nero is a 40-year-old teacher at St. John's Technical Institute at Nandom. Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Sali, who introduced the nominee, pleaded with the assembly members to vote for him for the speedy development of the municipality. Out of the 36 assembly members who took part in the exercise, only one declined his confirmation, giving him 97.2% of the votes cast. His counterpart at Lamuse, however, did not go through the sweat for his confirmation.
Let's do the sacrifices that we can to resolve the developmental challenges of our district. Poverty is our opponent. Hunger is our opponent. Malnutrition is our opponent. There are lots of opponents in this district that we all have to resolve to fight.
All 36 members voted to confirm the 39-year-old mathematics tutor of Peanut Secondary Technical School, George Gerald Naluri, for the DC of the area.
Reporting for J News, Rafiq Salam.
And Rafiq joins me on phone right now with the very latest. So Rafiq, what's the latest on the chaos that ensued at the Wa Municipal Assembly?
The latest is that the two that were arrested yesterday after the rampus at the Wa Municipal Assembly has been released. The information that I got from the police was that they were taken to the police station and then later were quickly released. And so I spoke to the man who was allegedly assaulted, who happens to be the assembly member for the Dego government residential area. And he is saying that he was not happy with the way things went. He was not happy that they didn't ask them to write any statement before they were being released by the police. And so he's saying that he's going to go back and then also lodge a complaint of assault against this man whose name has been given as Admuda. Admuda is the Wa Municipal Youth Employment Agency director. And so he's the one who is alleged to have assaulted the assemblyman for the Dego government residential area.
Now, when you say they've been released, it is that they've been released, they've been granted bail, or they've been released and the charge, whatever charges there are, have been dropped?
The police didn't take any. The information that I have gleaned on is that the police haven't taken any formal statement from these two personalities. The information that I had was that one was taken to the police station and then was asked to sit behind the counter. But after some few minutes, he was asked to go and see the regional commander, and then after that, they were released. So for now, there's no formal statement that they made them to write about what transpired yesterday. And that's why the assemblyman for the government presidential is really peeved about the situation. He's thinking that it's a family affair, but the way that things are going, he will be forced to go to the law court.
How about the confirmation process itself? How many have been confirmed so far and how many more to go?
In the Upper West region, we have 11 MDCEs. And so yesterday, the process started at Nandom, where 40-year-old Raymond Nero, who happens to be a teacher at St. John's Technical Institute at Nandom, was confirmed by the 35 out of the 36 members of the assembly. And then after that, we moved to Lamuse yesterday, and that was where another confirmation took place. It was 100%. All the 36, both government and then the elected, voted for George Gerald Naluri, who is also a 39-year-old teacher, mathematics tutor at Peanut Secondary Technical. And so from there we moved to the Wa Municipal Assembly, where Alhaji Sakutai Moment was confirmed the second time to be the municipal chief executive of Wa. And so this morning, as we speak now, the process is about to start at Bolu, where Madam Aisha will also be looking at the faces of the assembly members to also confirm her. And then after that, late in the afternoon, the process in the Sasala East municipality will also take place. And so for now, it's 3 down, 8 to go in the Upper West region.
All right, thank you very much, Rafiq Salam. Now joining us right now is Dr. Richard Fiadomo. He is with the Chamber for Local Governance, and we're going to be analyzing the MMDCE confirmation process that's been taking place across the country. Now, what's been your assessment of the process so far?
Which is to all your cherished viewers and listeners. I think so far, so good. I think that if you look at the confirmations that have happened and the rejection that have also gone on, if you look at the numbers, I think it is sizable in terms of the confirmation, and then the rejection is also negligible. So we think that so far, so good, except for the few violent situations that we have been hearing and what we just saw happen as well.
Now, what do you make of the power that's the assemblies are supposed to have? Because the whole idea of the decentralization process is for the people at the assembly level and the grassroots to be able to determine who they want and who they don't want. But if you look at the constitution of the assembly, it doesn't appear as if they have that much power, do they?
Oh, they do. If you look at Article 2431 of Ghana's Constitution, it just gives the power to the president to nominate someone, and it is the duty of the assembly members. And when we talk about assembly members here, we are referring to the elected assembly members and indeed the government appointees. They are the bona fide members of the General Assembly. So they are the ones that are doing the voting. We also appreciate the fact that sometimes there are some external pressures brought to them, especially from the party angle and the regional ministers and all that. But ultimately, they are the ones that are doing the voting. And that is why our honorable assembly member that was slapped is most unfortunate, because at the end of the day, nobody else can cast a vote if you are not a member of the General Assembly. And the Constitution is clear, and it is only the assembly members. So they have the choice and they have the power to do the voting. Or if there are other factors that are coming to play, obviously they don't come to play on the floor of the House.
All right, so we're taking the case of the Wa Municipal Assembly, for instance, and the concerns that a number of allegations have been made, corruption allegations have been made against the nominee, and yet he managed to sail through. If they had all these concerns, you'd want to think that they would find a way of rejecting the person.
Yeah, sometimes what we see and hear from outside may not necessarily be what happens inside. So, of course, we, the outsiders, may have heard about a few allegations here and there. Of course, if those allegations are not coming from the honorable assembly members, then you can be sure that it's not going to have any significant impact on their voting process. Of course, these are people who are, I think they are about 30-something people. So it is very easy for the MMDCE nominee or the one who has just been confirmed to meet them one-on-one and trash out issues, even if they are corruption issues. So clearly, it may be an issue for those of us who are outside, but it may not necessarily be an issue that assembly members should have considered, because they are insiders and they will know more about those allegations. And that's why we believe that if there are issues that are strong enough, it is the honorable assembly members who should even take it up, because they have the power to even not only reject, but they can remove the MMDC that they themselves have just confirmed. So if the allegation of corruption was something that was key, I believe they would have rejected it. Maybe they did not factor it because it may not have that kind of merit that we, the outsiders, may have been hearing or have been made to believe.
Staying with the Wa Municipal issue, you could tell that there was a lot of tension, and which tension resulted in some level of violence there. What is it that could be done to reduce the kind of tension we're seeing in some areas?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, the way we are not happy, the way this particular government has gone about this whole MMDCE issue, apart from the delay. Confirmation of honorable chief executives, there are special meetings that have to be held. And per the Act, special meetings are meetings that are called at the discretion of the presiding member. But we have a situation whereby the powers of the presiding members to call the meetings have been usurped by the regional ministers, and they now come out with a timetable. And because there's a timetable, everybody now knows that from here we are going here, we are going here. It is not compulsory that everywhere that there's going to be confirmation, the regional minister must be there. But the regional ministers have taken over the process as if they are not there, confirmation processes cannot be done. And that is what is creating the problem, because now there is an open timetable and everybody knows that when we are going to Wa West, from there we are going to Sisala, we are going to this place. So you have party people who go there and make sure that they will do everything possible to get their MMDCs confirmed. Meanwhile, that is powers that has been exclusively reserved for the honorable assembly members. So some of these violent situations we are seeing and the tension we are seeing, we will blame it on the regional ministers who have taken away the powers of the presiding members to call for these meetings by coming out with this timetable that everybody now sees and follows. So people know that in while there are going to be 3 confirmations on a particular day, and then we have all kinds of people trooping to those areas and creating some of these tensions and some of these confusions that we are seeing.
Which brings me back to the point I was making earlier, that if you look at the Constitution of the Assembly and the way we're going about the confirmation process in itself, are we not usurping the powers that were supposed to be with the Assembly?
Yeah, I agree with you to some extent. My only point of diversion is the voting process. That one, we all saw that it's only the honorable Assembly members who voted. But clearly, to be honest with you, the way the regional ministers are going about this whole thing, it is what is created. They virtually usurp the powers of the presiding members. All the places that we have been and seen, it is not the presiding members who set the date. It is the regional ministers who set the date and gave the timetable to them, because according to them, they are the ones who are supposed to oversee the nomination process, and we strongly disagree with that. It is the Electoral Commission that can be there, and if the Electoral Commission is not there, then the meeting or the voting cannot take place. But apart from the Electoral Commission officials, the voting can take place with or without the presence of any political appointee or regional minister. So yes, I agree with you that they are usurping their powers. And you see, this particular government has taken a posture to get MMDCEs elected. So they are interfering with the process so much so that it will give us the opportunity to say that we should go and vote on partisan basis. Because clearly, the regional minister taking away the powers of the presiding members is not the best. And now they will turn around and say that is why they want MMDCEs elected on partisan basis. You don't allow the system to run. You create impediments in the way of the system. The system does not work well, and then you make a U-turn and come and tell Ghanaians that is why we want elections done on partisan basis. But we think that everything has been deliberate from day one. The delay in nominating MMDCEs was deliberate, and then powers taken away from presiding members not to call for special meetings is also deliberate, especially coming from regional ministers. So we agree with you when we say that the powers of the Assembly is being usurped, especially by the regional ministers across the country.
Dr. Fiadomo, one final issue I want to bring up, which has to do with the delay in the appointment of the MMDCEs and the confirmation. Now that we've had them, their tenure, they're supposed to run or serve a 4-year term. Now, what happens, essentially, it means that they're likely to run into the tenure of the next president. Does that mean that the next president would have to deal with the MMDCEs appointed by his predecessor?
Thank you very much. As for that one, their tenure is actually supposed to be 4 years, but it is at the behest of the president. So the president himself has decided to appoint them now. So on paper, they are supposed to do 4 years. So if per adventure, the MPP does not win the 2024 election and another president comes, he also reserves the right whether he will allow them to stay or he will ask them to go. Don't forget that on the 11th of January this year, the president himself, who is MPP, and all the appointees or MMDCs are also MPP, the president wrote to them and asked them to stay on in acting capacity. So the president terminated their appointment on the 11th of January. Some of them could not do 4 years. Some of them were even appointed in 2018, and in 2021 January, the appointments were terminated. So the power of the president to appoint and to terminate the appointment of the MMDCEs is clear. So nothing will change, honestly, if the MPP does not even win the 2024 election. Whichever president is elected also reserves the right whether if you allow them to complete their term or he can also truncate their term of office. So it is strictly speaking no news.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Richard Fiadomo with the Chamber of Local Governance.